Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. This is our Wednesday night Bible class, the 18th of August, 2021. I'm asking everybody to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Okay, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh is the Old Testament, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses on Mount Sinai by the Lord host. Shalom and welcome everyone. We're going to do our moment of silence, our prayer, and read the Psalms, and then go into the current events before we go into our lesson. Okay. Oh Lord, we come before thee at this time. We are thankful for thy knowledge and thy understanding that you have given unto us up until this point. We seek thy face on this day, that you shower us with peace and enlightenment and a sense of togetherness. Oh Lord, we see thy hand in the affairs of the world, and we know and understand that what you have spoken in the past will surely come to pass. We ask you to turn not your face from us, but to hearken unto our plea. Hearken, O Lord, and do, for we need you so very much at this hour. All praises unto thee. Okay, let me read the Psalms right quick. Okay, I'm going to read Psalm 59. It's a prayer for deliverance. It's a Psalm of David. It said, deliver me from mine enemies, O my God. Defend me from them that rise up against me. Deliver me from the workers of iniquity, and save me from bloody men. For lo, they lie in wait for my soul. The mighty are gathered against me, not for my transgressions, nor for my sin, O Lord. They run and prepare themselves without my fault. Awake to help me, and behold, thou therefore, O Lord, God of hosts, God of Israel, awake to visit all the heathens. Be not merciful to any wicked transgressor. Selah. They return at evening. They make a noise like a dog, and go round about the city. Behold, they bleat out with their mouths. Swords are in their lips. For who say they doeth heal? But thou, O Lord, shall laugh at them. Thou shalt have all the heathens in derision. Because of his strength will I wait upon thee. For God is my defense. The God of my mercy shall prevent me. God shall let me see my desires upon my enemies. Slay them not, lest my people forget. Scatter them by thy power, and bring them down, O Lord, our shield. For the sin of their mouths and the words of their lips, let them even be taken in their pride, and for cursing and lying which they speak. Consume them in wrath, consume them that they may not be, and let them know that God ruleth in Jacob unto the ends of the earth. Selah. And at evening let them return, and let them make a noise like a dog, and go round about the city. Let them wander up and down for meat, and gorge if they be not satisfied. But I will sing of thy power, yea, I will sing aloud of thy mercy in the morning, for thou hast been my defense and refuge in the day of my trouble. Unto thee, O my strength, I will sing, for God is my defense and the God of my mercy. And that was Psalms 59. It's a prayer for deliverance. The Psalm of David. Any comments on that? Anybody get anything out of it? Okay, we're going to go to current events. Anybody got any current events they want to bring up? Okay.
Well, I do.
What you got?
In Russia, they got hurricanes going off in Moscow.
What?
Today, and they also had another hurricane in Haiti. earthquake in Haiti.
Okay, ain't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Um, I read that out of Second Ezra about the eagle. You know, he gave an understanding to greater understanding to Ezra about the four beasts that he did to Daniel, and he was talking about how it was going to be two heads left at the very end, but they're gonna come up to rule, but their rule gonna be short.
That would make sense
Right. Yeah.
because they're coming together, China and Russia.
Right. Exactly. Right. But we know that ain't gonna last long because we know our deliverance is at hand.
Right.
Yeah. Let me get this right here. Yeah, that's where I'm headed right now. So I'm glad you asked that. It says, being former military, what are your thoughts about Afghan pullout? Like I said, the whole thing is it's all staged. They're staging all this, you know. So let me get into that right quick. So, and I got I want to get some comments from people after I'm gonna play these two videos and then get some comments. Okay. We go to the first one. It's the first one. And like I said, you got to understand that it's coming to America. They showing you out there abroad first they're getting ready to bring here. So here we go.
Big scenes outside the international airport in Kabul as thousands of Afghans try to flee the country following its fall to the Taliban. In response to the developing humanitarian crisis, the UK has said it will take 20,000 Afghan refugees over a number of years. But in Parliament, where MPs were recalled for an emergency debate, Labour attacked the figure as too small, and the government came in for scathing criticism from some Conservative backbenchers over the withdrawal of Western troops that led to the Taliban's return to power. Tonight, Afghanistan's deposed president, Ashraf Ghani, who's fled to the United Arab Emirates, said he had no intention of staying in exile. For our first report on Afghanistan tonight, let's go live to Kabul and join our correspondent, Secunda Kamani. Secunda.
Well, residents here are still grappling with what this Taliban takeover will mean for their lives. In some parts of the city, things seem to be getting back to normal, but there are many who are still deeply, deeply anxious. Outside the airport, chaos continues. Thousands are still desperate to leave the country. Here, a girl, terrified. The Taliban are coming for me, she cries. This family has been camped outside here for 5 days. The situation here is very bad, she says. No one wants to live here. Everyone wants to live in peace and to be able to study. We want to go anywhere that is safe. Despite assurances from the Taliban that anyone linked to the government will be given an amnesty, many here are deeply fearful for their future. And that's why we're still seeing these chaotic scenes at the airport. No one's clear yet what comes next, but political discussions have begun. This was the arrival of a deputy leader of the Taliban in Kandahar, their spiritual home. Whilst this is a member of the notorious Haqqani family, deeply entrenched in the Taliban's leadership, meeting with former President Hamid Karzai and other senior Afghan politicians. In a speech tonight from the Gulf, the former President Ashraf Ghani said he supported the efforts and hoped to return to the country. That seems unlikely. In the center of Kabul, early signs everyday life is beginning to resume. Heavily armed Taliban patrols are all around, but shops and streets are busier than they've been since the takeover. It's not the same as before, says this man. People are scared, but it's better than the past few days at least. There are far fewer women out and about than before, and they're dressed more conservatively, though not in the all-encompassing burqa. Many major businesses have sent female employees home, unsure whether the Taliban will allow them to work. But there have been signs of defiance. This is a protest in support of the Afghan flag, replaced in some areas by the Taliban's. A number of demonstrators were reportedly shot dead in Jalalabad. Whilst this was another rally in eastern Afghanistan, look at the huge Taliban convoy that's speeding towards it. The Taliban have been making conciliatory noises in public, but many fear they won't tolerate any challenges to their authority. Sikandar Kamani, BBC News, Kabul.
Okay. Anybody got any comments? Okay, so yeah, I was gonna address what was said earlier about being a former military. Like I was saying the other day, what you have to understand is Esau is ruling. Esau is the full beast that Daniel talked about, and then they lived in Israel from 143 BC to 70 AD. You know, people don't understand that part of it, but let me read that because it's got a lot to do with what's going on. So you see it right here in Malachi chapter 1. It says, let me get it. The last book of the Old Testament, or the last book of our scriptures. So chapter 1 says, the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, said the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, said the Lord. Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and I laid his mountains and his heritage to waste for the dragons of the wilderness, right? So you say, well, you figure that's in, when he laid his heritage to waste, you figure that's in Mount Seir, because that's the land he had. Just keep reading. Verse 4 says, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. See that? Desolate places. Desolate places ain't in Mount Seir. Desolate places in Israel. I'm going to keep reading. You're going to see what I'm talking about. Thus said the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. They shall be called, and they shall call them the borders of wickedness, right? What borders? And the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. And your eyes shall see, and ye shall say, the Lord of hosts, will be magnified from the borders of Israel. So they in Israel. So in 70 AD he ran them out. But Esau said right here in verse 4, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build desolate places. And they returned in 1948, just like they said. So you say, well, what you talking about? Well, they want the original borders. I told you why that throne that Queen Elizabeth have, and that the Windsors are sitting on. They believe in their mind, they was ran out in 70 AD, and they returning, but they want to rule the world from Jerusalem for 1,000 years, but not the little area right there that we looking at. They want to rule it by the original borders. And that's from the river Egypt to the great river Euphrates. So all them countries, what we witnessing happening is they destabilizing all those countries. They want to destabilize them. They had, I don't know who know about, they had that summer of rage about 5 years ago. They had a summer of rage, and I was telling you about the harps. Everybody talks about harps. This satellite system that they have in place where it cause earthquakes. It can cause floods, and it can cause hurricanes. But what they don't know about it is that it sends out frequencies, and it can cause, it can they can send a beam out over a certain area, and it cause first of all, the turmoil has to, they do something to start the turmoil, but they can send that frequency out, and then it just brings total chaos to that area when they put that beam on it. It's a frequency. So they had summer rage. I don't know who remember that, but when total chaos happened all over it, all those Arabs went crazy for the whole summer, and they reshaped a lot of governments over there when that happened. And so now we see this right here. All they're doing is destabilizing these countries. Like it's a couple of countries over there got nuclear weapons. So they're using this right here to destabilize them because they just can't run up on them if they got nuclear weapons. And Pakistan is one of them. But they did pretty much defuse Pakistan because it's part of that the original borders. Pakistan, Iran, all of them. They tell them destabilize. They want to rule the world, but they want to rule it from the original borders that Israel had. And that's what their objective is. Yeah. So these are these Illuminized Edomites that's behind this doing it. Man, you notice they just got rid of Netanyahu, and they brought this other guy in, and he tasked everything up. He more hands-on than Netanyahu, and he's a Zionist. Okay? Anybody got any comments? Okay. Got one more video on this Taliban. Right here. This is one reason why I'm playing this right here. Like I said, they had 20 years to do something about this. And so, like I said, it's coming here. And we don't want to get caught like these people did.
Some have money, most are desperately poor, but all are determined to get out at any price. It's the biggest humanitarian crisis in the world today. Nearly a quarter of Afghanistan, perhaps 5 million people, have fled. And like the Afghani asylum seekers on board the Tampa, still more are on their way. I've just returned from this country, ruined by war and ruled by the hardline Islamic Taliban. As a nation, it's a basket case. It's why the people smugglers are so hard to beat. The market for their services is seemingly endless. Waves of people, all desperate to find refuge in places like Australia. Just inside Pakistan, on the Afghani border, heart-wrenching evidence of what's being called the world's worst humanitarian disaster. This is Jalazai refugee camp, a squalid tent city for 50,000 men, women, and children.
You know, they destabilizing the whole region. They can just walk in. Yeah, they destabilizing the whole region.
The human tragedy is immense. Fled their country, another million have fled their homes for Afghanistan. But all are in this human tragedy is they are wanted by border countries like Pakistan, country largely another million have fled their homes for Afghanistan. But all are in this human tragedy is they are wanted by border countries like
Somebody got the I think there's somebody lying. I think somebody got somebody got to cut their mic off.
Those with any money will try and buy an illegal passage to countries like Australia. They have fled a country ruled by war and ruled by religion. This is Afghanistan, Taliban style, a place where your every move is watched, every movement controlled.
Please keep moving. Please.
been an easy place to report from. 22 years of war, and now the strictest Islamic government in the world makes getting the news out very difficult. For example, before I came here, I was given a set of conditions. Break any of them, I was told, and I'd be punished. They included not interviewing women, not interviewing anyone in their house, and not filming any living creature. But it seems that those who make the rules are prepared to break them in the interest of getting their message across.
For the last 20 years, especially the new generation, the youngsters, they have not seen anything except war, fighting, killing, looting, and all these things.
Mullah Sharab Stanigzai is a senior minister in the Taliban government.
Our main aim was to bring peace in Afghanistan. All these problems which is here in Afghanistan right now, it is because of the rations. We had good relation with our neighbors in the whole region and all these things. We were very rich, we were very strong in everything in economy. But all these things have been destroyed by the rations.
Russian invasion, Russian withdrawal. Then civil war. Not a part of Kabul, nor a corner of the country appears untouched. At its worst, Afghanistan was not a nation state, it was a state of anarchy.
It was really basically lawlessness, and nobody really felt secure.
Pakistani journalist Imtiaz Gul has reported from Afghanistan for the last 15 years.
Before the Taliban, particularly in a city like Kabul, it was free for all. The city itself had been divided into several zones and being manned by different commanders. You really have to negotiate your passage from one sector or zone to the other. So it was really basically lawlessness.
Right now, the peace which is established in Afghanistan is great. Establish and build schools for the people. They should establish universities. They should give improved seats to the people, fertilizer, tractors, and all this stuff. If they are not.
Yeah, so I got a question about this right here. Maybe somebody can answer it for me. Okay, it's Taliban, right? When Taliban first came in and they were beheading people and all that, they had all of them, a bunch of Taliban leaders as they was most wanted, right? Am I right or wrong?
Right.
You're right.
They was all they had like warrants out on all of them. They was looking for them. Now all of a sudden they are on TV talking to people. But I thought they was wanted people. They had all these cards with different ones on it, with the number one person they was looking for, number two they was looking for. Now all of a sudden they all out in the open running the Afghan government. When the United States supposed to be looking for them dead or alive. That's crazy. Ain't making no sense to me.
They was wanted for the time being.
Okay. Okay.
So like they were wanted to push that agenda through
right, right.
Orders for the war and that was going on, and like someone posted the Guantanamo Bay. I think most of those people were probably pulled over there for protection and to just keep their mouths shut. Not necessarily because they were wanting to kill or hurt someone, but they were just aware of what the Edomite people were doing, and they were going to speak up against it.
Okay. Yeah, I just see that. I mean, that's like a red flag to me because these same people that cause all these horrific atrocities, and then you had, like you said, you had them on playing cards, and now all of a sudden that don't apply no more. And then right before they released, before they decided to pull out of Afghanistan, they released all the leaders from Guantanamo Bay. Like, mean, it's crazy. It's like the people, the population is zombies. They don't have no respect for our intellect. Because that's crazy. I mean, right before all this happened right here, you let all them go from Guantanamo Bay, or Guantanamo from the prison.
The leaders in their communities and the men of influence and status, I guess they purged them out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So let me answer this right here. It says, "Are the fiery serpent in Numbers 21:6 actually Gentiles, and the snake Moses set on the pole in the image of the king foretelling JC in John 34." Well, I know that. Like I was saying before, we're not dealing with this we're not dealing with it for what the Most High and what our forefathers, when they wrote it down. We got all these metaphors and similes when actually everything is literal. Most of everything you're dealing with is literal. So based on that fiery flying serpent, I want to go to Isaiah. Show you something. I was showing you how that those 200 angels came down. All of them had a lineage. They came down, took them a wife, and was sleeping with her, and they was having children. So each one of them got a house, got a lineage, right? And that's what they're talking about when they say they are royals. They're going by where they ascended from. So, and they ascended from these fallen angels. Another word is blue bloods. So, Isaiah, let me get it right quick. Let me see it right here. Chapter 14, verse 29. It's pertaining to the same thing, this fiery serpent. So it says, this Isaiah 14:29. "Rejoice not, thou, O Palestinian, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken," right? "For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent." So what is he talking about? Yeah, first of all, he told you, he says out of the serpent's root. So does the serpent have a root? Yeah, Japhet, Cain's descendants. Cain is a product of the serpent cohabitating with Eve. So what is Satan? He got wings. You're a fiery flying serpent. So this is so what is he telling you? He's saying that a man out of his lineage is gonna show up in Palestine. So like I said, we're gonna break it all the way down. Palestine is excuse me. Palestine is the name that they gave Jerusalem after so to tell you right here, it's a dead cat on the line anyway, right here. But Palestine is the name they gave Jerusalem after when Hadrian came on the scene. He came in and backfilled Jerusalem. He came in and brought 2 or 3 legions there to keep people from coming there because it was caused such havoc for the Roman Empire. He backfilled it, covered it up with dirt. And so that's why a couple of videos I showed you where they dug that place back up. And some Israelites that went over there and dug it up, which is part of prophecy. But anyway, so he's saying, "Rejoice not, thou Palestinian," which is Jerusalem. So that's like I say, that's not during the time of Isaiah, one called Palestinian. So that let you know it's a dead cat on the line. But anyway, it says, "Because the rod of him that smote thee, for out of the serpent's root shall come forth a flying cockatrice," right? So who is that? Who is this flying cock? That's Antioch Epiphanes. He's telling you it's a flying serpent coming to Jerusalem. That's Antioch Epiphanes. But like I said, who knows that? That's him right there. So like I say, let it ferment. So Antioch Epiphanes came there. Let me show you what I'm talking about. When you understand who Japhet is. So I'm in 2nd Maccabees. 1st Maccabees. This is when what I'm doing is it's a prophecy that the Most High gave Daniel in chapter 8. He said that it was a ram and a he-goat. And he prophesied that the ram was going to come and he was going to rule. That was Cyrus, and then the Medes and Persians, and then he said that he-goat was going to come and he was going to knock off the second beast, the ram, the Medes and Persians. And so we have that in the King James Bible that it came to pass, but we don't have the part where the ram came, where the he-goat came. We have the interpretation of it, but we don't have a way it came to pass. So it came to pass right here. I'm gonna read it. We're still dealing with the flying serpent. So he said, out of the serpent's root. Okay, I mean, First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. Get there in a minute. Okay, here we go. I'm in chapter 1, verse 1, if anybody following along. So it says, it came to pass right here. This is what Gabriel gave Daniel. It came to pass, but it's way over here in First Maccabees. It came to pass after Alexandria of Macedon. This is a serpent. This is a flying serpent right here. He's out of Alexandria, or he's out of Cain's lineage. So he says, it came to pass after Alexandria of Macedon, son of Philip, who came from the land of Chechen, had utterly defeated Darius, the king of the Medes and Persians. See that? It's from Daniel chapter 8, that he reigned in his stead, and as he before reigned over Greece, and he waged wars and captured fortresses and slaughtered the kings of the earth, and he made his way to the ends of the earth and despoiled a multitude of nations. The whole earth was silent before him, and he became exalted, and his heart was uplifted. He mustered a very mighty army, ruled over lands and rulers of the heathen, and they paid him tribute. Afterwards he fell sick and knew that he was going to die. So he called his distinguished servants who had been brought up with him, divided his kingdom among them while he was still alive. Alexander had reigned 12 years when he died. Here we go right here. His servants succeeded him, each in his own dominion after his death. They all put on crowns, as did their sons after them, for many years. And they did much evil on the earth. Right here. Now here we go. There sprang from them, see that, a sinful shoot. That's what I just read over there in Isaiah chapter 14. Shoot is the same as root. There sprang from them a sinful root named Antiochus Epiphanes, son of King Antiochus. He had became a hostage in Rome, and he became king in the 137th year of the Greek king. And in those days arose also, there it is right there. So it was a lineage. He told you in Isaiah chapter 14, out of the serpent's root, which means that if it's out of the serpent's root, it ain't coming out of Adam's lineage. Because Cain had nothing to do with Adam. Okay. Anybody got a comment?
Good question, well answered.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, okay, I'm trying to find if anybody else got any questions. Okay. Okay, I already asked that. Okay, see where I'm at. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna play this video right here, right quick. It's Pompeii. This I'm showing you how they send out all these signals, but it's for somebody that's got their ears and eyes open. So I told you about the Edomite. You know, they all over here in America dressing up like Americans, but they're Edomites. And once you get an eye for them, you can spot them. So this guy right here, Pompeo, he was full-blooded Edomite, and he was Secretary of Defense for a long time. Here we go. Listen to what he's saying. It's a warning.
Collapse from within is possible. Race and open borders have become levers for the left to sow societal disunity.
Right. So they doing this. He Illuminati banker too. So he said that immigration, in case you don't know, it's 180,000 immigrants coming through the border a month. And so what they're doing now to keep them backlogged, they busting them to different states. They just dividing up that 180,000 a month and taking them to different states. And that's why you're seeing so many immigrants all over the place. So that's a factor right there. It's gonna cause America demise right there. It's intentional.
Immigration without assimilation, illicit drugs, human trafficking, disputed elections, inflationary risk, they've become the tools to disassemble our republic in what must surely be an attempt at national suicide. We allow MS-13 assassins to pass through our borders with gang tattoos covering their faces while we are lectured by our media for our obstinacy.
And by the way, they a lot of those immigrants, they know they are positive with the COVID-19. They know they positive, and they bring them on in, and they distribute them all over different parts of the states, different states.
Right.
Marxist theoretician. I don't often talk about Marxist theoreticians. His name was Antonio Gramsci. He's an important man in history. He considered freedom servitude. He endeavored to rescue communism by positing that Western values are themselves cultural hegemony. Sound familiar? Western values have brought democratic institutions, technology, and a vast array of achievements to the world. We know this. And while Gramsci died years ago, I have to ask, why are children being taught his lessons that derive from his invalidation notions in our schools as we sit here today? The histories of our heroes should instead be taught, men like President Reagan. We must do this so students may comprehend the potential for excellence that exists within every single person. There was a fellow, his name was Dr. Norman Borlaug. I had the privilege to speak in Iowa at an event there celebrating his life. He was born in 1914. He created the Green Revolution. It was President Carter who wrote that Dr. Borlaug did more than any individual in history in the battle to end world hunger. Borlaug invented the high-yield wheat, an agriculture practice that are used in Kansas today.
Yeah, what's crazy about this, like I said, a lot of people don't understand it, but these people, this guy right here, got his whole existence is what I just told you. They wanted to rule Jerusalem for 1,000 years. They want to rule the world from Jerusalem for 1,000 years. He a Zionist and he a banker. That's their whole objective. They eat, sleep, and breathe that. But they act as if they're hiding it, just like Wolf Blitzer. He one of them. All them Edomites, but they over here in America posing like Americans, dressing like Americans. But like I say, once you get an eye for it, you can spot them. So this is whole purpose. Well, he laying out right here, telling you what they doing right now. He's telling you right here how they gonna demise America. Okay, somebody had something to say?
Yeah, I was gonna. That's what I was just gonna say. They're creating a problem,
right,
so they can supposedly have the solution.
Right.
Because, like you said, if we're in a pandemic, why would the borders be open in the first place?
Right, exactly.
And then they're already getting us ready for these attacks that's going to happen. Of course, it's going to happen. And then they're talking about civil war.
Right. They already setting that up.
Right.
Yeah, it's all they all doing behind the scenes. You're pro at all this, and that's why I was saying what people not understanding when they was born, when the two boys was born, Jacob and Esau were born. People assume that he said the one's gonna be stronger than the other one. They're thinking that Jacob gonna be stronger than Esau. Now it's Esau. Yeah, if it wasn't no heaven, and it wasn't no Lord of hosts, and it wasn't no Yahweh, and it wasn't no angels, we'd be subjugated by these people forever. But because it's a heaven, and we got a guy that's over us, an elder, a strong one over us. They're gonna knock him out. But if it wasn't for that, they got us, they got us duped. And like I said, he married those giant women. He got all those giant sons like Zephno and Amalek, and that's why he said one's gonna be stronger than the other one is Esau. He's a man of war. Not only that, a man of war, he's a mighty man. And so Isaac told him he's gonna break his brother's yoke off his neck. Well, he broke it off. I told you in Obadiah when he stole the land. If they didn't hoodwinked and misconstrued it through the Bible and hid it in the Bible. But he stole the land. And he existed in Israel from the time Antiochus Epiphanes came and ran the Israelites out until 70 AD. And then he came back in 1948. And they actually running the American government. And like I said, they hide themselves. So whereas you have a president, when he win, you bring in his administration. You got all these secretaries, right? Esau don't aspire to be none of them. He's an undersecretary. He's the second person in charge. That's they call him the shadow government. They the ones running everything. The person up there as a secretary ain't nothing but a guinea pig. The Edomites down, on a lower level running everything, but they behind the scenes, what they call handlers. And it's been going on forever and a day. With Kennedy. Kennedy wasn't Lyndon Johnson was the one running everything. He was a handler. What his name? Guy Colonel White or whatever his name was, House was running Wilson behind the scene. He get somebody to stick him up there as the president, but the Edomite think tank is running the president. So like I said, he telling you right here, point blank, what they doing.
And the practices that averted starvation in places like Mexico and India, Pakistan, China, and all throughout Africa. In destitute villages the world over, Norman Borlaug didn't see race, he didn't see religion or color. He asked a simple question: do these people have enough food? In so doing, he saved more lives than any person in history. He received the Nobel Peace Prize, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the Congressional Gold Medal, and countless accolades all across the world. But today, there is scary mention of Mr. Borlaug in any of our public schools. This is tragic, and this must change. We dwell on our faults as if they were unique and not ubiquitous to every land that's ever existed. When will we teach our children about America's triumphs and our greatness? That answer is that every one of you in our party must make sure that day is tomorrow. Our country is tearing itself apart. And for what? Anarchy and the elimination of our police can bring but death and fear. Discrimination can't be fought with more discrimination. And the form of socialism that is now being praised by the woke politicians and our billionaires will bring democracy to its knees. It'll bring it to its knees by culling dissenting opinions while concealing harmful biases in search engines and in social media platforms. And if we do not act to secure our elections by demanding voter ID and online manipulation, we will be governed by forces. We will be governed by forces that are beyond our control.
So he just said indirectly that they stole the election.
Now, I'm sufficiently cynical to always ask the question, who benefits? Well, it's not America, but an array of global interests that has amassed power and unaccountable wealth through their usurpation of the American dream. This was done by selling or commoditizing the engines of our economy. We had whole industries that moved to China. President Trump and I began to stem this tide. We formulated trade policies that brought unmatched numbers of jobs back here home to the United States of America. We established energy independence through regulatory reform, unleashing a massive amount of American dynamism. We addressed intellectual property theft, critical materials and supply chains insecurities. We saved jobs that belong here and must never again be allowed to be stolen by anyone.
Okay, yeah. So that what you was talking about earlier was it's called a halogen dialectic, where they create a problem, and then they keep on making the problem worse and worse till the people cry out for a solution, and the whole time they had a solution. Yeah. Any comment? Anybody got any comments? Okay, so I'm gonna open it up right now for a little Q&A. Anybody got any questions they want to deal with they came across or something they heard on Prophets of Awakening, they want to get a better understanding of it? Okay, everybody good? Okay, I'm gonna read out of I was dealing with on the men's line last night. I was dealing with showing how giving you a better deeper understanding of the Lord of hosts and him being manifested in the book of Jeremiah. And so I read 15 and 16. So what I'm gonna do tonight is read 17. Because I figure I can't read 15 and 16 without dealing with 17. So nobody have no question before I start reading. No comments.
Shalom, you said you about to pick back up where you took off yesterday in the men's class in Jeremiah?
Yeah, 17.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm in Jeremiah 17. And like I said, what I was showing in 15 and 16 was Lord had promised Jeremiah. Because if you don't understand, when you understand what they did when they concocted JC, a lot of what happened with Jeremiah, they used it in the New Testament with JC. Because Jeremiah mourned. He was on the Mount of Olives. Jeremiah mourned over Israel. And they got JC mourning over Israel on the Mount of Olives. And Jeremiah was a weeping prophet. Jeremiah went through hell, pertaining to the point where the Lord of hosts told him, don't even waste your time getting no wife. He already had a wife. He's a spouse. I mean, he's a spouse to a woman. But he told him, you might as well go on and let her go on about her business, because you ain't, it ain't happening. So Jeremiah is considered the weeping prophet. And that's the same take they put on JC. They got it from Jeremiah. But anyway, I'm in 17. So everything he had told Jeremiah, Jeremiah prayed to him and said, I'm getting it from all angles. When the do go down, you telling Israel, you got me telling Israel Nebuchadnezzar coming, the people from the north, and they're gonna wipe this place out and burn it down. He said, well, what's gonna happen to me? Is it all gonna be well with me? And the Lord of hosts told him, yeah, it's gonna be all well with you. Them same men gonna treat you different than they treat the rest of the people. So let's look at that, cause of what we waiting to get ready to happen. Same thing, what happened with Jeremiah in his day, it's gonna happen now. So let's look at it. Let's go all in on it. I mean, example from Dave at the top. I mean, Ezekiel chapter 9, right quick. This the blueprint. Then we're gonna go back to Jeremiah. I mean, Ezekiel, right? Just in case you want, this ain't, JC don't possess these characteristics. So I'm in chapter 9 of Ezekiel, right? So this is how judgment is passed in Jerusalem with Israelites. It says, he cried also in mine ears with a loud voice, saying, cause them that have charge over the city to draw near, every man with his throwing weapon in his hand. Right? See that? Every man was strong weapon. So who were these men? 2. And behold, 6 men came from the way of the higher gate, which lies toward the north, and every man had a slaughter weapon. See that? Slaughter weapon in his hand. And one man among them was clothed in linen with a writer's inkhorn by his side. And they went in and stood beside the brazen altar. So we already see right here, this ain't no regular men. These angelic beings. And it just so happened to be the Lord of hosts. I mean, Yahweh created 7 angels in the very beginning. That's his eyes. They go to and fro, back and forth from heaven to the earth, looking and doing everything for the Most High, making prophecy come about. So that's who this is right here. So judgment get ready to be passed. So verse 3 says, and the glory of the God of Israel was gone up from the cherubim, whereupon he was at the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which had a writer's inkhorn by his side. And the Lord said unto him, see that? Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, set a mark upon the forehead of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that are done in the midst thereof. Then, so this man going and, he's going and making a mark and recognizing the people that have ears to hear and eyes to see, and that's the spirit responding to the spirit of the Most High that's being poured out. So he marking them. Genesis 5, and to the others, he said in mine hearing, go ye after him. See this? Don't let this be your end right here. He says, go ye after him through the city, smite. Let not your eyes spare, or neither have ye pity. See that? This ain't JC. See, JC got pity. So it says, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids, little children, women, but come not nigh any man upon whom the mark, and begin at the sanctuary, then and they begin at the ancient of men which were before the house. So this was getting ready to come. He poured out his spirit already. We see people responding. See that? Them the ones with the mark on them. So when the Most High come back and to bring about judgment on the earth, not only is he coming to get these Gentiles and what they done, but he ain't got time to fumble with people that ain't responding to his spirit. So this is the blueprint. Now let's go to Jeremiah.
Hey, Leonard, this is talking about present to future.
What you mean?
Meaning that this is the prophecy to come.
No, this already happened.
This has already happened. It's just okay.
Right. So, well, matter of fact, it's doing this when Ezekiel is talking about Nebuchadnezzar just as well as Jeremiah is. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Go to chapter 1 right quick. I don't want to leave no stone unturned. So I'm in Ezekiel chapter 1. You there?
Yes.
Now it came to pass in the 13th year of the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives. See that? Captives by the river Kabar. So he in Babylon with the rest of them. Ezekiel in Babylon, he went to Babylon. Jeremiah didn't, but they both prophesying around the same time about the same events. Okay, so let's go back over here.
Yeah, captives with the S is a past tense phrase. So yeah, I'm seeing you.
Yeah, in Babylon. Yeah. So anyway, where was I going? Yeah, back to Jeremiah. So chapter 15. Let me see. I deal with 15, 16. Yeah, 15. So I just gave you the blueprint. Our judgment is passed down. So we're gonna look at it right here. So it says, I'm starting at 15, verse 1 says, then said the Lord unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be toward this people. See that? These people I hated wicked as hell. But he said, I dealt with Moses and Samuel. He said, but yet my mind could not be toward these people. Cast them out of my sight. See that? And let them go forth. And it shall come to pass, if they shall say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus says the Lord, such as from death. See how he talking? JC don't talk like this. Such as from death to death, such as from sword to sword, and such as from famine to famine, and such as from captivity to captivity. He ain't trying to deal with them. So he told Jeremiah, go tell him that, right? Then so let's look at it. 16 says, verse 1, the word of the Lord came also unto me, saying, thou shalt not take a wife. I just told you that. See that? Thou shalt not take a wife, neither shalt thou have sons or daughters in this place. For thus says the Lord concerning the sons, look at this, concerning the sons and concerning the daughters that are born in this place, and concerning their mothers, look at this, that bore them, and concerning their fathers that begot them in this land, they shall die. Look at this, a grievous death. I showed you I showed you the blueprint, how he do it. See that? They shall die a grievous death. They shall not be laminated, neither shall they be buried, but they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth, and they shall be consumed by the sword, and by famine, and by the carcasses shall be meat for the fowls of heaven and the beasts of the earth. For thus said the Lord, enter not into the house of mourning, neither go to laminate nor bemoan them, for I have taken away my peace from this people, says the Lord, even loving kindness and mercy. Both the great and the small shall die in this land. They shall not be buried, neither shall men laminate for them, nor cut themselves, nor make themselves bald for them. Neither shall men tear themselves for them in mourning to comfort them for the dead. Neither shall men give them a cup of consolation to drink for their fathers or for their mother. Thou shalt not also go into the house of feasting to sit with them to eat or to drink. For thus says the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I will cause to cease out of this place in your eyes and in your days the voice of mirth, the voice of gladness, and the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride. So, like I said, to give you a summation of what's going on, I showed you what he did over there when Nebuchadnezzar came. Then we saw what he did on the west coast of Africa. We saw how horrendous that was. So this is how he operates. So when he come back this time, this was happening. He didn't pull his spirit out. He waking brothers up. He got brothers awakened. He didn't raise his spirit up, and the knowledge is out there, but you got people that ain't trying to hear it. So just like he did over in Zechariah, he got the elect. He got them, but he got some that ain't, it's rolling off of them like water on a duck bag. And you don't want to be in the way of the Most High when the judgment comes, because this is how it's gonna go down. It ain't gonna be, you can't. When you go to the New Testament, you trying to deal with the Lord of Hosts from a New Testament perspective, you're gonna come up missing, because that ain't how you operate. He give you ample time. He pull his spirit out. He bring prophets, and then he give you ample time to respond and to deal with it. And then when you don't deal with it, when the time comes, like he said, he come the guy with the inkhorn. He marking the ones that sigh and they cry. Let me give you another example. I mean,
hey, Lenny, which angel is the one with the inkhorn? Is that Michael or which holy angel is that?
Michael Clothing Linen, the man with the linen.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, Isaiah 66. Isaiah 66, verse 5. And it says, this is a future prophecy. It says, 5, hear the word of the Lord. See that? The word of the Lord. Ye that tremble at his word, or the word of the Lord, ye that tremble at his word, your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let the Lord be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be the same. So he making a point. The Most High word comes, you got people that tremble at his word. They hinge on every word that's being said. They respond to it. They can write they have a what do you call it, discernment for the Most High word when it comes. They respond to it. That's what you're talking about. That's how it operates all the way through here. The ones that respond to His word, that sigh and cry for His word, and the things that concern Him, the law and the testament and all that, in the land of Israel and all that. Them the ones that He deal with, and the rest of them, like He said, they're gonna be laid upon the mountaintop like dung on the mountaintop, because you had ample time. Same thing with the flood. You had Shem, Noah, Eber, had them preach it to the people, and it fell on deaf ears. Then when the time came, we see what happened. There ain't no characteristics of no JC ain't got no characteristics of Yahweh or the Redeemer, my Redeemer. You don't. And that's what people getting caught up in. They thinking, no. Like I say, look how horrendous the transatlantic slave trade was. People can't believe that. How can we be the Israelites with all that happened to us during that time period when the ships showed up in that middle passage? We prophesied. Negroes wasn't hearing. They wasn't. They didn't have ears to hear and eyes to see. Got swallowed up. Same thing getting ready to happen. Already pulled the spirit out. If you're gonna respond to it, you're gonna deal with it or what? It's a Moab. You only got a certain amount of time to deal with it. So let me go to chapter 17 now. I just wanted to bring us back around to where we was at. So I'm in 17. And like I say, you looking, you see what's going on all over the world. It's Most High. So I'm in Jeremiah 17. I'm gonna read that. Say the sins of Judah. The sins of Judah is written with a pen of iron and with the point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their heart and upon the horns of their altars. Will their children remember their altars and their groves? Okay. Okay, it says
It blinked out a minute.
Huh?
It blinked went silent on us.
The what?
When you was talking and reading, it went silent. I'm not sure where you started or stopped at.
Oh, I stopped at 2.
Okay.
Verse 2. Will their children remember their altars and their groves by the green trees upon the high hills? So what is he talking about? It says, will thy children remember their altars? These are altars to these fallen angels up in these high places. It says, and the table, it says, and their groves. So groves is, like I was telling you, when where they was dealing with these fallen angels, that they would memorialize that place. Instead of make a grove out of it. That's what they mean when they say grove. So it says, and by the green trees upon the high hills, or high hills is high places. That's what these fallen angels at, up in these mountains. It says, 3, O my mountain in the field, I will give thy substance and all thy treasures to spoil in thy high places for sin throughout all thy borders, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I have given thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For we have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. Thus saith the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man, and maketh flesh his own, and whose heart departed from the Lord. He shall be like the heat in the desert, and shall not see when good cometh, but shall inherit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land, and not inhabited. Say, blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, and whose hope is in the Lord. See that's what is happening in Ezekiel chapter 9. That's who got marked right here. person that got marked was the man that trusted in the Lord and whose hope is in the Lord. Them the ones that got marked. Same ones gonna get marked now. So he says, "For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when he cometh, but her leaves shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit." Jeremiah was an example of that. Lord told him, when they come, they gonna do right by you. They killing and burning out everybody else's houses, but they show favoritism toward Jeremiah. So 10 says, "I the Lord searcheth the heart. I try the reins, even give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doings. As the partridge sitteth on his eggs and hatcheth them not, so he that getteth riches and not by right shall leave them in the midst of his days, and at his end shall be a fool. The glorious high throne from the beginning is the place of our sanctuary. O Lord, the hope of Israel, all that forsake thee shall be ashamed, and they that depart from me shall be written in the earth, because they have forsaken the Lord, the fountain of living waters. Heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved, for thou art my praise. Behold, they say unto me, Where is the word of the Lord? Let it come now. As for me, I have not hastened from being a pastor to follow thee, neither have I desired the woeful day. Thou knowest that which cometh out of my lips was right before thee." So let's go back. Look at this. So this is Jeremiah talking to the Lord, pleading his case. So the Lord says uh, in verse 10, "I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins, even give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doing." This is how he operates, in case you wonder. 11, "As the partridge sitteth on his egg and hatches them not, so he that get riches and not by right shall leave them in the midst of his days, at his end shall be a fool. A glorious high throne from the beginning is the place of our sanctuary." Now here goes Jeremiah. "O Lord, the hope of Israel." See that? He's worrying about Israel. That's what the people that got marked, concerned about Yah, what Yahweh concerned about. "O Lord, the hope of Israel, all that forsake thee shall be ashamed, and they that depart from me shall be written in the earth, because they have forsaken the Lord, the fountain of living waters." Now here go Jeremiah. Jeremiah. "Heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved, for thou art my praise. Behold, they say unto me, Where is the word of the Lord?" That's what the people, the Israelites, asked him. "Let it come now. As for me, I have not hastened from being a pastor to follow thee, neither have I desired the woeful day. Thou knowest." So you know, Lord of hosts, that which come out of my lips was right before thee, but not a terror unto me. Be not a terror unto me. Thou art my hope in the day of evil. Let them be confounded that persecute me, but let not me be confounded. Let them be dismayed, but let me be dismayed. Bring upon them the day of evil and destroy them with a double destruction. See that? So you ain't responding to the Most High and you ain't concerned with the things that's going on with him. It don't look good. You ain't coming out right. So 20, "And say unto them, Hear ye the word of the Lord, ye kings of Judah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem that enter in by these gates. Thus saith the Lord, Take heed to yourselves, bear no burden on the Sabbath day, nor bring in the gates of Jerusalem, neither carry forth burden out of your house on the Sabbath day, neither do ye any work, but hallow ye the Sabbath day as I commanded your fathers. But they obeyed not, neither inclined their ears." See that? That's what's happening right now. Say, "But they obeyed not, neither inclined their ear, but made their neck stiff, that they might not hear, nor receive instruction." See that? Ain't nothing good is coming out of that. "And it shall come to pass, if ye diligently hearken unto me, said the Lord, and bring in your burden to the gates of this city on the Sabbath day, but hallow the Sabbath day to do work therein, Then shall there enter in the gates of this city kings and princes sitting upon the throne of David, riding in chariots and on horses, they and their princes, the men of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem, and this city shall remain forever. And they shall come from the cities of Judah and from the places about Jerusalem and from the land of Benjamin and from the plains and from the mountains and from the south, bringing burnt offerings and sacrifices and meat offerings and incense and bringing sacrifices of praise unto the house of the Lord. But if ye will not hearken unto me to hallow the Sabbath day and not to bear a burden, even entering in the gates of Jerusalem on the Sabbath day, then I will kindle a fire in the gates thereof, and it shall devour the palaces of Jerusalem, and it shall not be quenched. And we know that's what happened. They turned from the Most High, stopped keeping the Shabbat, stopped keeping the year of release, and he brought Nebuchadnezzar. And then they got back from Babylon and picked right back up with it again, and he brought Antioch Epiphanes and brought Israel to an end as a nation and to where we at right now today. Right. So with that being said, anybody got any comments?
Do you feel because I know I feel like the Most High is giving us like tests during these times to see if you're going to walk in his ways, see if you're going to keep his Shabbat, because he had the whole world, come to a standstill. So now's the time for you to really just be in these last days, giving it your best effort, your best shot, right?
Right, exactly. And like I said before, when you understand that he's in everything, right? It's his responsibility, because he's gonna deliver us. So when you understand that if he poured his spirit out and you got people that sign and concerned about Most High ways and all that, he's gonna bring an instructor. That's his responsibility. He's gonna bring an instructor. Is you gonna have discernment to understand that he brought you an instructor and who that is. That's how that works. He's gonna bring them. That's why I say we when you see our forefathers, they prayed and they hinging off of the prayer that they prayed. They waiting on that. But we are in the dreams. So, but we have a dream. We get up, we go on to do something else. We ain't thinking about the dream, and then praying about something and forgot what you prayed about. So, but they ain't how it operates, ain't how it works. What you praying to the Most High about, you holding them to it. You waiting on it to manifest itself.
That's a real good point, Brother Leonard.
Right.
About not forgetting what you pray because
I'm just something. You breaking up. You breaking up. You can't hear what you're saying. Okay. Anybody else got anything?
Shalom.
Hey, bro. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, that's what I've been finding out in our classes, that is how the Lord of Hosts, the Most High Lord of Hosts, deals with us through dreams.
Right. Exactly. You ain't never stop. I mean, we deal with, it's just that, well, like I said, he hid himself from us by bringing us over here among these Gentiles. And then, and he allowed them to dissemble all our records. But now he's bringing them back. And so by him bringing them back, we are finding him in the scriptures. So he's behind all of it. That's the whole reason behind him returning the language. And the reason why the language was the way that it was. We can't deal with him. We keep on saying his name. Well, his name is in Hebrew. And if our language been taken away, when he went back up, he took the language with him. That means that we disconnected from him. But he told us he's
Shalom.
gonna bring you. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Brother Leonard.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to share a dream that I had a few
Okay.
months ago. I was descended up because I was looking down, but
Okay.
I was in a clear bubble. You know how kids just blow the bubbles and they're clear?
Okay.
I was surrounded by a clear bubble, but
Okay.
all I saw was fire and smoke, and it looked like just destruction. I couldn't see what was going on, but there was a
Okay.
lot of fire beneath me. But I was in this bubble, and to me, that symbolized I was protected
Okay. Yeah, that's what it
from
symbolizes.
whatever was going on.
Right. You can. It's two ways to look at that too, because it's showing you that Israel gonna be protected. Because you know what I mean, the elect. So it could be that
Wow.
you being in the bubble is symbolizing the elect Israel. So he's not just gonna protect one person; he's gonna protect all the elect. So
Right,
the
right.
destruction will be going on, but Israel will be protected, and we know that's the case because that's how he did it all the other time. Yeah, that's all. That's all. You know, that's big. To tell you the truth. Yeah, that's how he operate.
Oh,
That's why. That's why I was saying about. Go ahead, Lamar.
hey, I was gonna ask you about Zechariah 1:11. So when you talk
Okay.
about the angels, then you talk about the world at a standstill. It seems like it's headed toward a worldwide shutdown completely. And
Yeah, it is. But like I was saying before, when you
that's what
understand,
these
go ahead.
and that's what them angels they walked to and fro through the earth, and they told the Lord that it was at a still,
Right.
and he's finna deliver his people. He finna do his work. Uh, when you read on, but that that Zechariah 1:11 just stuck out.
Right. Yeah. I'm looking at it. I'm looking right at it. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we getting ready to witness right now because those they calling it a global reset, but that's what they're getting ready to do. Like I said, they want this place to go away, and they want to come up with a whole new system. They want to bring a whole new system in place. You know, and like I was saying before, they operate Esau operating under the same auspices as the Most High is, but now understand that what he doing is Most High already prophesied. He actually doing the Lord of hosts work for him out of ignorance. Yeah,
Right.
right. Yeah, that's how that works. Yeah, anybody else got anything?
Brother Leonard, could you read that Zechariah 1 and 11?
Okay, it says, and they answered the angel of the Lord that stood among the myrtle trees and said, we have walked to and fro through the whole earth, and behold, all the earth is still and is at rest. Okay. It said, then the angel of the Lord answered and said, O Lord of hosts, how long wilt thou have mercy on Jerusalem and on the cities of Judah, against which thou hast had indignation these 10 years? So what's 10 years?
30?
You
Three
said
score 10 years. 10 years is a score is 20 years.
Oh,
So what's that? One score is 20 years.
33 years.
70.
Three score and 10.
Well, okay then. 3 score and 10.
70.
40.
7 years.
70.
So how long they supposed to be in Babylon?
70.
There you go. See, that's how you write it about the scriptures. No matter what the rabbi or the lowly pastor next door say, he just told you 70 years. 70 years. So that's taking you right to they're getting ready to go back because it's 70 years is up. That's what he's telling you. So the earth been sitting still these 70 years while Israel been in Babylon. And now he's getting ready to judge the earth. Let's look at it. Go to Haggai. Zechariah and Haggai came out. I told you that. Zechariah and Haggai came out of Babylon with Zerubbabel. So what we looking at is the day of the Lord. So he told them the earth's been quiet. These 10 years since they've been in Babylon. Now it's time for him to bring havoc on the earth to deliver us. Same thing where we at right now. So I'm in Haggai chapter 2, verse 20. Remember what the angel just told the Lord host. I'm gonna go back there a minute. I want to show you something, but chapter 2, verse 20. And again, the word of the Lord came unto Haggai. See, they prophesying at the same time, Zechariah and Haggai. It says, and the word of the Lord came again unto Haggai in the 4th and 20th day of the month, saying, speak to Zerubbabel, king of Judah, saying, I will shake the heavens and the earth. See, that's what the angel was just telling him. So let's go back and look at and rightly divide this. Like I said, I didn't write it. So I'm in back on where Lamar was at. Verse 11, Zechariah 1:11. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. And they answered the angel. Look at this, the angel of the Lord, right? So you say, well, who is the angel of the Lord? That stood among the myrtle trees, right? And said, we have walked to and fro through the earth. Behold, the earth sitteth still and is at rest. Now we're gonna see who this angel is that's in the myrtle trees. Then the angel of the Lord answered and said, O Lord of hosts. See that? It's the Lord of hosts. That's in the myrtle trees. See that? O Lord of hosts, how long wilt thou not have mercy on Jerusalem and on the cities of Judah against which thou hast had indignation? See, now we know who indignation it is. It ain't Yahweh indignation. It's the Lord of hosts indignation. See that? See that? See, these 10 years is Yahweh. Now let's go to Daniel. You're gonna see the same thing. So I'm in Daniel chapter 12. Except over here, he's gonna tell you his name. I'm in Daniel chapter 12. You there? Chapter 12, verse 1.
Got it.
Says, at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince was standing for the children of our people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even at that same time. And at that time our people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. So 10 years, 70 years is up. Who delivered them? Michael, right?
Right.
So we got a time appointed right here. Me telling you, at the time appointed when the prophecy is over with, Michael gonna stand up like he been doing. And then we're gonna keep going. Verse 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, and some shall to everlasting life, some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words, seal the book, even to the time of the end. See that? Appointed time of Moab. Many shall run to and fro, knowledge shall increase. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood the other two, one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And the one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long? See, he the one over everything. He the one dealing with all this, making all of it happen. He asked the man clothed in linen, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? Now, I want to shine light on something. Now, remember what these clowns told us over the New Testament, that no man know the time and hour. See that? But the angel asked him right here, the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which look here, which was upon the waters of the river, which held up his right hand. We're gonna see that it ain't Yahweh, held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swore by him that liveth forever. He swore to Yahweh. See that? And it says for a time, and half time. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the powers of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. So we gave you down, point blank, down to the time when it all is gonna go down. So that's a garbage over there, what they talking about. Nobody knows the time and hour, not even the angels. That's a lie from the pits of hell.
Hey, Leonard.
Okay.
And also in verse 1, you know that there's always different additional names to Yahweh, like the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords.
Right.
Verse 1 says Michael the Great Prince. So that makes him second in charge, not JC.
Right, exactly.
So it just clarified who is second in charge.
Right. And that's why he said Great Prince.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. Ain't that something? It's just like with David. Before he got ready to pass, Solomon was the one chosen. David had a bunch of princes, but Solomon was the one that was followed him. Same thing right there. Yeah. Anybody else have anything? Okay. I see somebody new on the line. You got anything you want to say? Make a comment? Okay. So, like I was saying before, let me see if I had something else I wanted to play. Yeah, let me play this right here. Anybody on here know what ADOS is?
Say that again.
ADOS. ADOS. ADOS.
ADOS.
You know, the group, the African Descendants of Slaves. They fight
Right.
for revolution. Yeah, ADOS. I think it's the lady named Yvette Cornett and the guy is Antonio Brown. They got a group called ADOS. So nobody not familiar with them? They like the number. I think they're at the forefront of reparations, fighting for reparations. They're the number one group now. I'm gonna play a little bit of this. Then we'll talk about it. I figured somebody would know something about it.
The president of American Descendants of Slavery Advocacy Foundation will discuss her organization's take on the payment due to Black Americans for over a century and a half. So much to be said about this idea of reparations. And it really comes down in many ways to whether you think Black folk deserve to have the damage done repaired. And there are many people at the forefront of this movement, but there's probably no movement more powerful, more vocal, and more influential in the conversation about reparations in the United States than that of ADOS. It's controversial, it's debated, it's contested, but it's absolutely one of the most important organizations going on. And so we wanted to have one of the founders of the organization, Yvette Carnell, join.
So what they're saying is only only descendants of the slaves can receive reparations. They don't want to. They ain't trying to let nobody else bounce off of that. The American Indian, the gays, and all that. They saying ADOS. You know, the American descendants of the slaves, only ones should be elevated and should be able to receive reparations.
Join us here on Black News tonight. Yvette, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Mark. I appreciate it.
Talk to me first of all about the current reparation policy proposals that are on the table. We see locally based things like in Evanston, Illinois. We see conversations about broader proposals. What's your sense of what the current policy landscape is?
Well, I see Evanston actually as a problem because what you see is that there were money suggested for reparations, like $250K. But that money, first of all, is a pittance. It's hardly anything. And second of all, it was merely a suggestion. It wasn't actually an allotment. So in terms of what reparation has to be, it has to be a national project because it was America that did this. It wasn't just local communities. It was America. And so we have to start at the federal level, and we can do local ordinances like we've seen, or we're going to see in Louisville and other places, but we can't allow people to kind of skirt this issue and do articles and say, well, we're doing a great thing, we're doing this thing in Evanston. And when you look at Evanston, it's not reparations, it's just a suggestion. We need real money, real wealth, because wealth was plundered and wealth must be repaid.
So talk to me about that claim right there. Wealth is plundered, wealth must be repaid. That is the fundamental argument of reparations for most folk, myself included. But a lot of times where we get stuck is the details of what kind of plunder we're talking about.
Okay, so you're probably saying, well, you know, what's the deal with this? Why I'm playing this? Well, we just saw in the scriptures, like I said, this is about thinking like a Hebrew, and we wonder why we get caught up so much. So we found out who Lord of Hosts is. You saw how precise that he is when he tells somebody something, he do it. He come right back, he backdoor what he do. He go, you might be off somewhere fumbling with something, but instead of doing what he told you gonna do, he bringing it to pass. So didn't he not say that we was gonna leave you with great substance?
Yes, he did.
Well, see that? You wanna know why the reparation debate ain't never went nowhere. He's still working on it. We over here doing the most fumbling, but he's still working on it right here. He's still working on it. We looking right at it. It ain't went away because he's working on it. And so we saw what he told Jeremiah. He said, yeah, Nebuchadnezzar coming, Nebuchadnezzar and all them coming, but they ain't gonna do nothing to you. They gonna be nice to you. They gonna burn everybody else's houses and chop their heads off and everything else. But they ain't gonna do nothing to you. They ain't gonna come nigh to you. And we looking at the scriptures, and that's exactly what happened. Nebuchadnezzar, he was dangerous. All of a sudden, he did 180-degree turn when he came to Jeremiah. So, like I said, he told us right here. Joseph told them before he died, the Lord coming to get y'all. He told me that. So he came and got them out of Egypt. And so he told us right here, we going into captivity on slave ships, but we're gonna leave out of there with a great substance. He working on it. We looking right at him working on it. So, like he said, Jeremiah told him, I'll hinge on every word that you say. You know, you've been talking. You know, I'll hinge on every word that you say. I didn't veer to the left or to the right. I didn't doubt you. Come on. Ain't there something? That's thinking like Hebrew.
That's
Not like a, what's that?
That's beautiful.
Right. Not thinking like a Gentile. We are on here 6 days out of the week. We know what the Lord knows is. We seeing him in all type of situations and how he operating. And so come on. We have no excuse not to believe what he said he's gonna do, it's gonna happen. Might not look like it, but he's still working his jelly. Behind the scenes, while you sleep, he working. And it's gonna come to pass. Okay.
Yeah, hey, you see that panic spirit he has put on them?
Right.
It's like a panic spirit. If you listen to them, you know, it's just panic. But Israel ain't got nothing to worry about.
Right, exactly. That's what they say when he turned them in against each other. They panic. Right. I'm gonna let a little more of this play, and then we're gonna close.
What kind of money it takes to repair the damage done, who gets it, and how they get it. So talk to me a little bit about ADOS's policy vision as it pertains to reparations.
Well, ADOS, the ADOS Advocacy Foundation, we are committed to cash payments. And we are committed to cash payments to a specific group of people, right? And those are American
Israelites.
descendants of slavery. Now, we have a transformative Black agenda that includes all Black people. But in terms of reparations, those are the people that built the country and have been systemically, methodically oppressed since then. So you have to have a method, not only for cash payments, but for programs to protect that wealth. Because you can give wealth to a group of people, and then that money is plundered by white supremacy and super capitalists who would like nothing more than to take it away from us. So we have to have certain protections, but we absolutely have to have cash payments. And this absolutely has to be a federal government initiative in terms of how we do this and how we have outlays and appropriations and things of that nature. It has to happen that way.
Is this on?
Why isn't Congressman Mike?
Right. We need tangibles.
Right. Like I say, they got it down pat now. It ain't like it was 10, 15 years ago when they were disoriented. They got it down pat. It's gonna happen. Bet that. Let a little more play. You're gonna get off here.
Supported by the White House that has billions for
Cash payments, how much are we talking?
Here we go.
I like to talk about it as a down payment. I don't like to talk about it because I always say it this way. It takes a lot more time to heal a wound than it takes to inflict a wound. And America has been inflicting a wound for 400 years plus. So it's going to take longer than that to actually heal that wound and close the racial wealth gap, which we like to call the lineage wealth gap. It's going to take longer than that. So I like to call it a down payment. But I think we're talking about at least 20 trillion. That's where we are. Down payment.
$20 trillion. So, and it's an interesting number when you think about what happened during the pandemic, when American capitalism was on the brink,
Right.
when Trump's presidency was looking shaky, when the heads of the multinational corporations were like, what are we going to do? They found $1 trillion real quick for America, right? So the idea of not being able to recover $20 trillion is somewhat less plausible than it was before, because there was a time people, you almost sounded like Dr. Evil saying anything with a T in it, right? But now that amount of money doesn't sound crazy anymore to people. But for the person who asks, how do we get that money? Where does it come from? How do you sustain a budget? How do you sustain an economy while giving $20 trillion to a 13% of the people, really less than 13% of the people, if you're talking about ADOS lineage, right? How do you do that? What do you say to that person?
Well, I say to everybody, I'm not mandating or demanding that everything happen at one time. I'm not demanding that. This is a project. And this is a formidable project. We actually have to have processes in place. So if we want to start the project and say we have 2 trillion this year, and we have 1 trillion next year, and we have 3 trillion, we can do that. But the problem in America isn't how, because everybody found a way to give warm reparations, even though it wasn't on the level of ADOS. Everybody found a way to give Japanese Americans reparations, even though it's not on the level of American descendants of slavery. The problem that we have is not how do we do this. The problem that we have is people who don't believe that we should do this. And so I'm more than willing to enter into negotiations and conversations with people who are asking about the how, because the how is something we can figure out. This doesn't have to be, listen, this country did this in a multi-generational way, and we can fix this in a multi-generational way. It doesn't have to all happen today, but it has to happen. And we can enter into that conversation with people of goodwill who want to see this happen. The problem that America has is that there are not enough people, and Martin Luther King Jr. said this himself about even liberals who just kind of tolerate us rather than want the best for us or want justice for us. We need to deal with those people and have an honest conversation with them, because I can figure out the how. The 20 trillion doesn't have to happen all in 2020, 2021, or 2022, or 2023. We can figure out a process, but it has to happen. And people have to be willing and have the will to do it.
One of the things that ADOS gets criticized the most for, and I've been critical of you, and you know this, I've told you directly, is the conversations that often emerge from people who identify as ADOS around nativism, right? There often becomes a discourse that emerges online from people with the ADOS hashtag. And I'm using that language very carefully because you've said to me before, that ain't us, right? You know, people may use the hashtag, that don't mean they represent us. But is there any room for a conversation, in your estimation, around how ADOS and its sort of commitment to talking about descendants of slavery may alienate people who come from other parts of the continent, may undermine a Pan-African agenda, or may kind of replicate, whether it's through the American flag imagery or through constantly talking about a certain kind of lineage, almost replicate a certain kind of American nationalism?
Well, you know, I think we have to make a sort of delineation, right? There's a difference between nationalism and nativism. We're proud of the country that we built. We're proud of the slaves who built the country. We are absolutely proud of our freedom struggle through Jim Crow, mass incarceration. We're proud that we're still here. So what I would say is we are absolutely have a right to be proud of what we built. Right, the same way that a Jamaican American is absolutely proud of their history of coming out of slavery. The same way a Haitian is absolutely proud of Toussaint L'Ouverture. We're proud in the same way, and you have to let us have that. We are a specific ethnic lineage. That's who we are. Now, there have been a lot of diaspora wars, but let me say this: a lot of those wars were not started by us, and a lot of those wars we were defending ourselves. People call me the granddaughter of a cotton picker, right? People call me all sorts of names because I come from sharecroppers. And the problem that I have with a lot of Pan-Africanists is that they will look at me and say, oh my gosh, you have people behaving in ways that are unproductive. And I want to say, you have a lot of people who are behaving in ways that are white supremacists. They are behaving in ways where they co-sign white supremacy. We saw on CNN somebody say something, an anchor said something about America's the greatest country. I could never have done this in another country. Meanwhile, we as ADOS see this, we see what America has done to us. And we see that a lot of people are not very respectful of not only what we have endured, but the pathway where we have opened up to them to come here. If it wasn't for us and our freedom struggle, there would be no black and brown people here. And so we see a lot of disrespect coming our way. So I think the people who criticize us need to also criticize the people who disparage us as well. I only see criticism coming in our direction, and that's a problem for me.
I think that's fair. So let's stipulate for a minute that there's a lot of outside criticism coming towards you that's unfair. And what do you say though about the criticisms that are being levied towards ADOS for these ideas around sort of?
Okay, so that's the name of the video is Head of ADOS discusses reparations, Pan-Africanism, and the Spoil Wars. So the point I want to make is that she said a specific group of people, right? And if you notice, the Most High keep on telling us that seed. So indirectly, she's saying the seed. So when I see that, I see Yah in it, because she's saying she's singling out a seed, a certain seed line of people, and there was Israelites that was brought over here. You know, it's like with the civil rights, a whole bunch of other people attached themselves to the civil rights movement. And so they saying they're not going to allow that to happen with ADOS. And to me, that sounds like Yah, Lord of hosts. Any comments before we go?
I agree.
Okay.
That separation, like we were talking about the other night. Yeah.
Exactly.
You see the Lord of hosts all in this.
Right, because he ain't said nothing about nobody else. He said he's gonna his people, which is a particular people. Right. Okay. So with that being said, anybody got anything else before we go? Any comments?
See y'all tomorrow.
Okay. I see
Great class.
Okay. I want to see we have the women's line tomorrow night, and I'll see everybody else on Friday night at 8 o'clock. Okay, let me get this right quick. Shalom.
Shalom, beautiful people.